Welcome back to Pilates by Brianna. Today's workout will be our usual 30 to 35 minutes. We will be using the ball and the box. That's the only equipment you need other than your reformer. We'll be starting with Footwork. So on my balanced body machine, I have on 3 heavy reds, 1 medium blue, but whatever your Footwork settings is. So when you're ready, you can lay on your back and we'll get started.
Gently come to lay down and take a few moments to settle in here. Make sure your feet are even on the foot bar, your spine is in a nice neutral position. If you would like to have the headrest up, you can go ahead and do that, and make sure the ball is close by. Take a few steadying breaths, have your heels on the bar, and when you're ready, you can begin pressing out and in. Exhale as you press the carriage out, inhale to control the carriage back in. We're going for a nice steady pace here, getting the heart rate elevated a little bit, getting some warmth through our muscles, and just getting set for our practice today. One last press out, and then bring the carriage halfway in for little pulses. Nice controlled, you're moving the carriage up a few inches and down a few inches, really feeling the quads fire on here. And then you can press all the way out and bring the carriage back in. Slide the feet down so the arches are on the bar, hip distance apart, toes are curled, and begin pressing out and in here. Same breathing pattern. Exhale as you press out, inhale to bring the carriage back in. Press the carriage all the way out and then come halfway in for those pulses again. We call them pulses, but they're a little slower than pulses because we're trying not to bounce on the carriage. We're really feeling the muscles work to control the carriage. And then you could press the carriage all the way out and back into the stopper. Slide the feet down again so the toes are on the bar. Bring the heels together to touch so we're in our Pilates V. Maintain that heel connection as you press out. The inner thighs will zip together, and then when you bring the carriage in, the knees will come as wide as the shoulders. So toes apart, heels together for our Pilates V position. Press the carriage all the way out, and then come halfway in for those pulses again. And then press all the way out, fully extending the knees, and bring the carriage back in. Heels will go wide on the bar, hips will be externally rotated, or knees pointed out as you press out. Pause. Internally rotate as you bring the carriage back in. We externally rotate the hips to press out, internally rotate to come back in. We're thinking of swiveling that hip joint into our internal and external rotation, getting some lubrication throughout the joint and warming everything up. One last time in this direction, and then when the carriage is in, pause and we'll reverse. Stay internally rotated as you press out. Swivel the hips so they're externally rotated as you bring the carriage back in. Internally rotate to press out, externally rotate to come back in. And last time here. When the carriage is back in at the stopper, you can place the feet back to hip distance on the bar, high heel position to press out, and we'll do the heel raises. Both heels will lower beneath the bar, both heels will lift. As you lift up, you're thinking of all the posterior muscles from the heel all the way up to the glutes to help assist with this motion. We'll go for 2 more. And then you could bend the left knee, right heel will drop beneath the bar for that stretch in the back of the calf, or the back of the right leg, which is the calf. Holding it here. And then switch. You'll bend the right knee and the left heel will drop beneath the bar now for the stretch in the back of the left leg and that calf muscle. And then we'll straighten both knees, bend the knees, and come on up. You're going to carefully roll to one side. You're going to take off one heavy red spring and pick up your ball. So we are left with 2 heavy reds, 1 medium blue. Come back down, laying on your back. You're going to have the right toes on the bar and the ball will go underneath the left knee. My pants are a little slippery, but you're trying to keep it behind the knee. And then you're pressing the carriage out and in with that right foot. Keeping that left leg up in almost a tabletop position, but maintaining that ball underneath the knee, so a little bit of hamstring activation here. Last one like this. And then next time you press the carriage out, you'll pause, squeeze into the ball, hold for a second, and then bring the carriage back in. So press out, pause, squeeze into the ball with the back of the left leg, and then bring the carriage back in. So you should be feeling the hamstrings working as you squeeze into that ball. We have 2 more like this with that press into the hamstring, into the ball. Last one. Now you're going to press out, pause, open that left leg out to the left, bring the left knee back up, and bring the carriage in. When you open that left leg out to the left, you could put a hand on your right hip to make sure that that hip stays down. So we're stabilizing through our obliques. So as you bring the left knee out to the side, try not to let the right hip come off the carriage. Last one like this. Bring the carriage all the way in, and then we'll switch sides. So we'll take the ball out from underneath the left and put it underneath the right knee. Left toes are on the bar. And then you can begin pressing out and in here. No squeeze into the ball yet. We're just getting that left leg moving and keeping that ball behind the right knee. One more like this. And then next time you press out, pause, squeeze into the ball, hold for a second, and then bring the carriage back in. So we're doing that same out and in motion. We're just adding in a squeeze into the ball when you're in that fully extended position. We'll make this one the last one. And then next time you press out, you'll open that right leg out to the right, back to center, and bring it back in. So a nice hip opener here that we have. But remember, we're trying to keep that left hip on the carriage. So very minimal movement through that left side. One more to go. And then when the carriage is in at the stopper, you can take the ball out, place the heels wide on the bar, and just windshield wiper the legs side to side. Just getting a little release in the low back and a little release throughout the hip flexors. And then you're going to come on up for a spring change. We're going to take off one heavy red spring. So we are left with one heavy red, one medium blue, and then come back to lay on your back. The ball will go underneath your sacrum. So that's that triangle bone in the back. And if your headrest was up, we want it down for this, okay? So go ahead, place the ball underneath. Legs will come up into tabletop. I'm just readjusting my ball, and you'll feel if it's too high or too low. We want to have good support, but no pressure throughout the low back. And then when the legs are in tabletop, you can begin alternating, straightening out one leg and then the other. If you would like more of a balance challenge, the arms can go overhead, so we're decreasing that base of support. You can also play around with just raising up one hand maybe, or keeping the upper arms on the carriage and just bending at the elbow so the hand is up in the air. So any of those options work. One more on each side. And then when the legs are back in tabletop, you can float the arms back down to your side. And we'll do double legs. So both legs will lower, straighten out over the bar. Both legs will come back in. If you feel pretty comfortable there with your hands at your side, maybe you try those different variations, lifting one arm up towards the ceiling or the other. I don't want you to feel anything in the low back. If you do, then just watch how low you lower the leg. So the closer to the ceiling, the less pressure on your spine. Last one out and in. And then bring the arms back down to the carriage and the legs will go overhead. You're going to lower the right leg down over the bar, bring the left one down to meet it, pause, right leg will come up, and then left leg will come up. So that'll be the sequence. We're always going to start with the right leg down, pause, right leg up, left leg up. So you're feeling a lot of work once both legs are extended. So really try to make sure that you pause there for a little abdominal hold. Last time through like this, right leg down, right leg up, left leg up, and then we'll switch. So now we'll lower the left leg down first, pause, right leg will come down, left leg will go up, and then right leg will go up. So that same pattern, but we're just starting with the left leg lowering first. Last time through. And then when both legs are overhead, you can bend the knees and hug the knees into the chest. And then we're going to pick up the straps, holding onto the short loops. Legs will stay in tabletop for this set, and we'll start with our pull downs. Elbows are straight. We're using our lats to pull the arms straight down to your side, and then control it back up. So the lats are those big muscles, our big back muscles that we're using. Next time you pull the arms down, we'll pause, bring the palms to face in, bend the elbows, and straighten the elbows for our triceps. So feeling the back of the upper arm working. Try to have the upper arms hovering above the carriage, but you can always rest them down if you need to. And we're going through this whole set without a break to improve some endurance in our arms. Bend the elbows, straighten the elbows, and then pause here. Bring the arms out to a T and then back to your side. Out to a T, back to your side. We're keeping the arms low so that way we can still focus on our postural muscles in our back body. If the arms start creeping up, you'll probably notice more work in the biceps, and we don't necessarily want that here. We want to work all of our postural muscles. Open the arms to a T, and then when they're back at your side, we'll bring the arms up to overhead. You're going to keep the right arm where it is, bring the left arm out to a T. You'll feel more pressure in the right hand, and then bring that left arm back to overhead. We're going for 10 on each side. We'll do all 10 stabilizing with the right, moving the left arm. And then once we've done 10 there, we'll switch sides. One more time out and in with the left, and then when both arms are overhead, we'll switch to the right. Right arm will go out to a T and then back up towards the ceiling. Keep the shoulder blades pressing firmly into the carriage. This is a nice stabilization exercise for our shoulder blades. And last one here. Good work. You can rest down, hang up the straps, take the ball out from under you, grab it in your hands, heels will go on the bar, headrest is still down. For some bridges, tuck the tailbone as you begin lifting the hips up off the carriage, and then roll through the spine as you lower back down, maintaining that nice pelvic contraction, that abdominal work. Try to keep the carriage as still as you can, trying to keep it in at the stopper. Next time you lift the hips up, we'll pause and begin pressing the carriage out and in. So as you press out, the hips will dip a little bit. As you bring the carriage in towards the stopper, the hips will raise. You're pressing out, and then to come back in, slight squeeze into the ball as we use the hamstrings to bring the carriage back into the stopper. So pressing out, and then as you come in, focusing on the back of the legs and squeezing into the ball with your hands. Last time out and in. And when the carriage is all the way back in at the stopper, you can roll the hips down. Good work. You can come off to one side. We're going to take off one heavy red spring, so we're left with one medium blue. I'm lowering my foot bar down a little bit to the setting just above all the way down, because I'll be putting my foot on that platform later and my hand as well. You're going to sit on the carriage, feet on the headrest, knees are bent. You want enough room behind you because we're going to be putting the ball underneath our shoulder blades, so kind of at our sports bra line. When you're in this position, we're going to be nice and active through the core. So you're not resting on the ball, you're just gently pressing into it. You have a strap in each hand and open the arms out to a T and then control it back in. Opening out to a T, control the arms back in. We'll do one more, and then we'll go into diagonals. So the right arm will go high, left arm will go low as you pull back, and we'll stay with this pattern. Right hand high, left arm low. We're still actively raising off of the ball, feeling the upper abdominals. Exhale as you pull out, inhale to control it back in. Last one here. And then we'll switch. So now the right arm will go low, left arm will go high. Take a moment to remind yourself of lifting off that ball nice and strong through the core. This is the last set, and then we can get out of this position. Last one here. And then you can come on up, and you're going to hang up the straps. Come off to the side and put the ball away. We're done with it until the very end. You're going to be on one side of the reformer. You're going to put one hand on the platform, the other on the carriage. Step the feet out so you're in a plank position. And then you're going to bring that carriage arm out to the side a few inches and then back in. Stabilizing through the shoulders, pressing through the palms, fingers are wide. We're going for about 12 repetitions, 10 to 12. Staying in that plank, that nice long line throughout the spine. One more time, and then keep your hands where they are. Just press your hips back so we're in kind of a downward dog position. Just getting a stretch through both the back of both legs. And then you can carefully roll on up. And we're going to come to straddle the reformer facing the risers. So your legs will go on either side, have a seat. Hips are externally rotated, toes are pointed out. You're going to pick up both straps, cross them, and come to a hovering position. So a hover squat, and we'll do a row. You're going to bend the elbows as you pull the straps towards you, squeezing between the shoulder blades. Spine is nice and straight. Sitting as deeply into this squat as you feel comfortable. Next time you pull the elbows by your side, pause and little squat pulses. So sit down even lower if you can, and then control it back up. Shoulders stay down away from the ears, shoulder blades are engaged, and we're just doing squat pulses here, chest is lifted. And then you can come up, straighten out the elbows, and we're going to repeat that row but with the palms facing up. So you're still in your squat hover, pull the elbows to your side, and then control back to elbow extension. And then next time you pull the elbows to your side, pause, and we have those squat pulses again. So sitting down even lower. I know the thighs are feeling it, but really trying to work through any fatigue. That's how we get stronger. And up an inch and down an inch. You're almost there. And then bring the carriage in. You're going to uncross the straps for bicep curl. So sitting back into the squats, arms out in front of you, bend the elbows, straighten the elbows. So bicep curl here. Sit down even lower if you can. This is our last round. And then you'll pull the arms up so the elbows are a 90-degree bend, and we have our squat pulses here. So trying to stay controlled through the arm, a nice isometric hold, feeling those thighs work as we lower up an inch, down an inch. Let the carriage come all the way in. You can sit on the carriage if you need to when it's at its stopper, and then come off to the opposite side because we have our plank here. So coming into your plank position, you have one hand on the platform, the other on the carriage. The carriage arm will go out a few inches and then control it back in. We're going for 10 to 12 repetitions here, maintaining a nice line, straight spine. Last one. And then when the carriage is closed, press the hips back so we're in a little downward dog type of position, getting a stretch throughout the back of the legs and some rounding through the spine. I'm taking my pad off that I had on the platform, and we're going to put the box on. Short box will go on. So the short box will be up against the shoulder blocks. Come to standing on the carriage. Hands are on the box. You're going to put the right foot either on the platform or on the foot bar. Left leg will stay on the carriage. Begin pressing out and in here with the right leg, straightening the right knee to press out, bending into the right knee to bring the carriage back in. And we're trying to keep your spine straight. So you're only very lightly putting weight into your hands. Most of it is in that left leg, that supporting leg on the carriage. Next time you press out, you're going to stay out. I'm propping up onto my fingertips. You're going to straighten out the front leg to move the carriage and then bend that front knee until the ankle is back underneath the knee. So my right leg is staying, the leg that's on the bar is not moving. It's just that left quad working to straighten out the knee and then bringing it back in. You might feel a little stretch in the hamstring as well as you straighten out the front leg. And then next time the ankle's underneath you, your hands will go to your hips, and then you're going to come raise all the way up and then hinge back forward. We're trying to move from the hip. You're trying to tighten that left glute to help bring you to the upright position, and the spine will stay straight as you hinge forward. This is a nice isometric hold of that left leg, so it's going to be working pretty hard right now. Carriage is still. Last one. And then when you're hinged forward, hands can go to the box, carefully come on in. You're going to turn towards your right. If your right foot was on the foot bar, you can put it back down on the platform, and we'll do our side splits. It's on a light spring. We're still on that 1 medium blue. So the more of the work is coming back in. We're using our inner thighs to bring the carriage back in, lifting up through the pelvic floor. Spine is straight. I like to have my hands on your hips, but a comfortable arm position for you. If you want to bring the arms out to a T, that's an option as well. Last one here. And then when the carriage is all the way in at the stopper, you're going to move the feet so that way you're in that hip external rotation again. So toes will be wider than the heels. Now as you press out, you're going to bend into both knees so you come into a squat, and then use those inner thighs to bring the carriage back in. So I would recommend making it a small squat initially, kind of get the feel for it. And then if you feel comfortable, you can go into a wider squat position. But that will be more work to bring the carriage in, so just keep that in mind. Last one here. And then when the carriage is all the way in, you'll turn to face the box. Both hands will go to the box. You can put your both feet on the carriage, shake them out, and then we'll switch sides. So left foot will stay on the carriage, right foot will stay on the carriage. Left foot will go either on the platform or the bar. Both hands on the box, and begin pressing the carriage out and in, straightening out that left knee, and then bending it to bring the carriage back in. Spine is straight, your head is in line with your spine, so try not to let the neck hang. Next time you press out, you'll stay out. You're going to lift up onto your fingertips if you have tight hamstrings, and then you'll straighten out that right knee, and then bend the right knee, letting the ankle come underneath the knee. You're moving the carriage out by straightening out that right leg. And you might feel a stretch in the back of the right leg and the hamstrings. One more, and then when the ankle is underneath the knee, you're in kind of a lunge position, hands will come to your hips. You're going to lift up using our extensor muscles, our glutes, and our back body, and then hinge forward. Carriage does not move. We're trying to keep it as still as you're able to, feeling that right glute working. And try to keep the spine as straight as you can as well to decrease any pressure into the back. Last one. And then when you're hinged forward, the hands will come to the box, bring the carriage in. We're going to turn to our left facing the side. If your left foot was on the foot bar, place it on the platform. Same options with the arms for our side splits, either at your hips in front of you or in a T position. And then you'll press out. Your weight will stay evenly distributed over both legs. And then thinking of using the inner thighs and lifting through the pelvic floor to bring the carriage back in. Last one here. And then when the carriage is in pause, we're going to externally rotate both legs. That way the toes are wider than the heels. And now as you press out, you're going to come into a squat position, and then you'll straighten both legs as you bring the carriage in. So as you press out, you're bending into the knees, coming into a squat, and then straighten the legs as you pull the carriage back in. You can gradually make these squats wider as you feel comfortable. Last one here. And then when the carriage is all the way in, hands can go to the box. You can step onto the carriage, carefully come to sit on the box, and cross one ankle over the opposite knee for a stretch. Spine will stay straight. If you need more of a stretch, you can hinge forward, feeling it in the outer thigh. And then you can come up, uncross, and switch. The opposite ankle will cross the knee. Again, hinge forward if you would like more of a stretch in that outer thigh. And then you can uncross, come on off the carriage, and we are done with the box. We're going to go into feet and straps. We will be using the ball, so you can either put on one more red, or you can put on 2 reds and take off 1 medium blue. I'm bringing my foot bar back up, so you have on either a red and a blue or 2 reds. Grab your ball, come to lay down on your backs. You're going to put your feet in the straps, and then the ball will go between the ankles. So take a moment to get set up here. We're going to come into a frog position. So we're in a hip external rotation again. It's that sensation of heels together, toes apart. Bend the knees in wide and then straighten them out over the bar. Maintaining that contact in the ball so that way it doesn't fall. But if it does, no one will see you. Just go ahead, grab it, and resume. One more time, out and in. When the knees are back in, you're going to bring them to parallel, straighten the legs out overhead, and we'll do straight up and down here. So the feet are parallel, thighs are parallel, ball is still between the ankles. You're lowering both legs down over the bar and then raising it back up. As you raise it up, you're trying to get the ankles over the hips or as far as you can go, keeping the hips down and until you feel a stretch in the hamstrings, but I wouldn't go past that 90 degrees for right now. And next time you lower the legs down, pause and begin pressing into the ball. Pulse, 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 feeling those inner thighs work. Pulse, 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 pulse. Keep going, keep going. Almost there. And then pause. We're going to go into hip internal and external rotation, rolling around the ball, thinking of rolling the hip joints. Both legs will come in, both legs will come out, ball stays between the ankles. And then you could bend the knees in, take the ball out, place it off to the side. We are done with it and come into a butterfly stretch. Bottoms of the feet will come together, knees out wide for an inner thigh stretch. And then you can straighten out the legs, bring them overhead, circle the legs away from each other around and down. They'll come back together and then lift up through the center. So we have our big hip circles here. As slow as you feel comfortable, as wide as you feel comfortable. You're gonna feel a little stretch after all that inner thigh work we did today. One more time in this direction. And then when the legs are overhead, we'll pause and reverse. Keep them together as you lower down, circle them away from each other, around and up. And then the heels will find each other back at center and pull down and repeat. Last time around here. When the legs are back to overhead, pause, open both legs out wide and feel that nice inner thigh stretch. You can grab hold onto the ropes, gently rock side to side if you would like. If that does not feel good, just stay stationary. And then bring the legs back up together. Lower the legs down. You're going to bend the left knee. The foot will come to the outside of the frame and the right foot will go up overhead. So you're feeling a stretch in the back of the right leg and the front of the left leg. So the hamstring is on the right side, the hip flexors on the left side. You're going to put tension in the rope on that right side so that you could carefully bring the left leg up and switch. Bend the right knee, that right foot will lower off the side of the frame and the left leg will go overhead. Feeling a stretch in the left hamstrings and the right hip flexors. Bend the left knee, put some tension in the rope as you bring the right leg up. You could take your feet out of the straps. And you were all done for today. Carefully come on up, Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the workout, and I'll see you next time.